What's all this?
Junk mail.
Then why is it on the table?
Because the last time I thought something was junk mail and tossed it out, things didn't turn out so great.
Right. Bills, pamphlets, actual junk mail. Did you slip this in here? It's not even creased or packaged. Helldivers. What's a super Earth? Help fight back the vile forces of the universe to put our glorious democracy in jeopardy. New recruits get their own cruiser, super Earth sanctioned power armor, and orbital strike designation capabilities as a sign-on bonus. Isn't this the one game the others have been playing?
Helldivers 2 swept across the world like fire. It's an instance-based, drop-in, drop-out, 4-man squad, objective-based team shooter with a bit of horde shooter on the side. It has my name written all over it.
It sure sounds like it. A Battle Pass-style pick-and-choose unlock system and 9 difficulty levels? This seems like a heck of a time sink despite having only just released. The gunplay is unique and tight, and we'll be going in with a lot of guidance to streamline our own improvement.
I'm Moo.
Oh, wow. Okay, what in the world was that?
We might be in over our heads. I'm Moo.
I'm new.
And this is Helldivers 2.
Okay, our guns don't do any damage if they aren't precise, and the robots still rush us in hordes regardless. I guess we have to make more use of the support strategies and soften patrols and objectives up and...
Stop that!
Low health and lots of revives probably means we need to utilize cover and more lateral tactics instead of just counting on gunplay.
That's fine and all, but tell us before you have us carve through a small horde without any issue that we'd be turned into a stain from half the map away if we stuck our necks out.
Thankfully, all we have to do for a mission is the main objective and a short hideout section for extraction.
But there's always a lot of side content by the looks of it. Taking out enemy camps, gathering intel, setting up extra artillery or radar support, and there are a lot of collectibles scattered around the maps too. My brother in Christ, I can't even see him!
Maybe it's natural to lose a couple of lives along the way.
On the ridge with the rocket launcher.
We start with a pretty fair amount of them, especially if we're running in a mission with a squad. And if this is supposed to be a bit more of a surgical operation, we should be punished for sticking our necks out carelessly.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad, but what about this says surgical to you?
I meant tactical, like Ghost Recon or something. Find an encounter, scope it out, engage with the plan? Maybe we shouldn't pick so many fights, and maybe we should pay more attention to our surroundings.
No, our bullets don't even hurt these things.
Maybe it's just something we need to adjust our build and playstyle around.
We just started! We're on easy!
Yeah, I guess you have a point. But even with the spontaneous death, the gameplay loop seems like fun.
The objectives are kinda simple, but nothing wrong with that. Most of the meat of missions is in doing the optional objectives like outpost destruction, and that's also where most of the deaths rack up.
You can sting an outpost as a squad, bombard it with orbitals and airstrikes, or split the party and dole out democracy in 2 or more places at once.
Do they honestly expect people to believe that Tyranids and Terminators care about democracy?
If they loved democracy, they would lay down their arms and let us kill them.
Yeah.
True.
Terminids and automatons and... maybe? I could see an intergalactic crusade being started for worse reasons, and they are threatening humanity and other life, and by extension, democracy? But in that case, they're also attacking all the systems of government and...
Maybe we should give the bots a break for now. My own common sense tells me we'll have a better time with bugs than bots, since they'll be in greater swarms, tend to clump up, and as far as my knowledge goes, none of them have rocket launchers.
The Terminids have a few problem children of their own, and while they're weaker per unit than the bots are, hunters are fast and lethal in close quarters, and hive guards have a bit more health and armor on the fronts of their bodies.
Well, chargers do too, and the general strategy is flanking and explosives, but the difference is that even if you flank a charger, you have to dump multiple mags into it to finally bring it down.
And they can one-shot you.
Seriously, we're on medium. I get punishing players for carelessness, but surely these sorts of enemies can do a bit less damage to help warm players up to them. This is the difficulty they're introduced in.
But it's really just the chargers and biobelchers giving us grief, and our primary and secondary are already really well equipped to deal with swarms, so why not pick up a heavier support weapon?
Right on. We need something dedicated to wiping out those big armored enemies. A one-shot rocket launcher that's specialized to punch holes in vehicles seems like a good fit.
I'd say, and with how many there can be at a time and the fact that you only get a single shot, surely the damage is enough to take out a charger and hold us over until we get heavier firepower elsewhere.
Did you miss?
No, I didn't miss.
Whatever. It has to be low after a direct hit like that.
It wasn't low.
And now there are 3 of them.
It's supposed to be challenging. The way the challenges are managed by an outside force is kind of indicative of that. In order for the narrative to develop, there has to be some back and forth. Just because we're on medium doesn't mean that the difficulty is going to be static.
If I only get 1 shot, it should kill. If these things were rare, I'd understand it just softening them up, but sweet gravy, that feels bad.
And it doesn't help that we don't have access to the primaries that are actually effective against armor yet. The assault rifle is nice and reliable, with some good damage and sound to it, The DMR is really satisfying, even if it falls off a bit with bigger enemies. The pump shotgun's great, despite its range, because of its unique shell-by-shell reload that doesn't demand you get rid of all of your leftover shots. But I don't really have any complaints about the sidearms. They function as sidearms should, and honestly impress me from time to time with their damage and reliability. But these support weapons leave something to be desired. We don't get access to the means of getting past armor until pretty late in the unlock tree, and our experiments with anti-armor support weapons have been less than fruitful. I'll say, this thing doesn't even one-shot a bio-belcher. What's the point? The point is that maybe we shouldn't be worrying about those quite yet. This is a team game, and sure, we don't have the means of killing them off easily, but we can deal with swarms well, and our friends most certainly have better tools for the job. That's what I'm afraid of! The more likely these airstrikes and bombardments are to kill a group of enemies, the more likely they are to pack one of us up too. Sometimes the bugs and bots aren't even that bad, but I still churn through those revives because I can't walk more than 20 feet without getting hit with an orbital strike. I don't even care about Super Earth. I dropped down and signed on because everyone else is in on it and having a blast. Bandwagoning's bad for our health. But I, of all people, shouldn't be having such a hard time. I just can't find a way to ease myself into it. Because the difficulty I want is boring for them. And the difficulty they want might as well be a meat grinder. There's always the chance that this shit just isn't for me. I've tried every mission type, experimented with every tool at my disposal, and done so multiple times. I tried playing this like Left 4 Dead and got reduced to atoms more times than I cared to count. I tried to play this like GTFO, but kept getting hammered because I was the only one trying to show the threats in front of us any kind of respect. Which means I thought maybe there's no respect that needs to be shown and I should go back to the running gun mindset and back and forth with chargers and chainsaw bots and friendly airstrikes mocking me every step of the way. This game sucks and I'm dragging all my friends' enjoyment down with me. Wait, when did he get here? Beat it! Scram! Get lost, you depressing wad of funk! He has to leave on his own. We're stuck with him, just like our teammates are stuck with half or less of their revives so long as we're around. Okay, we need to do something about this. So long as something isn't throwing in the towel, I'm all ears. Well, we've played our fair share, so what are some things we like about the game? I like that it's funny as shit. What's this? Ah, that's a napalm.
No.
So long as it's not at our expense. Even then, if I get blasted into a dozen little chunks by an ally or being too close to danger, there's fun to be had and a lesson to learn. But if I die because a bio-belcher doesn't die and 8 shotgun shells to the cranium, that's when it feels bad. I actually like most of the enemies in the game and what they provide encounters, but some of them just go too far. But the worst offenders are those stupid broodlings. They hardly do any damage, they're made of paper, they're pretty slow, and sometimes, if they feel like it, they can just summon a horde. Which, again, is fine on paper, but there's no time to react beyond kill them all before they have a chance to take any action, which can lead to a long loop of bug breach after bug breach and life loss, and losing lives doesn't matter. I like the variety of stratagems too. I like the consistent precision and power of orbital strikes, and because of their limited uses, I kind of feel like airstrikes should be a bit more powerful, but the defensive structures rip through enemies and are balanced by not holding their fire on Helldivers. Which is fun, and something that players have to play around, can benefit from, and can't blame on anything but their own bad positioning. But even some of the stronger ordnance can't seem to kill a charger. So we have to flank it and dump all of our ammo. Actually, we can bait them into charging into a wall and dive out of the way after they're stunned. Oh, that's cool. So we have a... Hey! It didn't stay stunned long at all. Ugh, I'm starting to want to go back to automatons. I think that's actually pretty good game design. Not being able to kill an enemy without losing all of your resources? Yeah, I'm right there with you. I meant the loop. We started with bots and got driven off by the difficulty, took on bugs until we hit a wall we just couldn't stomach, and now we're going back to bots again. No, I'm just venting. I'm not going back to bots. Then we need to dig our feet in. Where are we struggling? With the special enemies. We have good information processing and target prioritization skills thanks to other games, but these priority targets are more trouble than they're worth, and take too much time to dispatch if we decide to take them out first. One being in the mix means we're going to get swarmed, to say nothing if there are 2 or 3 or more. Then we should adjust to wiping out those hordes fast. Sentry guns and napalm will probably do a pretty good job, but we still can't kill the charger without dropping lives. We're doing something wrong, and the more chances it gets to charge, the more we suffer. Well, it doesn't help that the armor's basically impenetrable. It might as well be a tank. A tank? I can live with that. Of course, where bullets don't work, we have high explosives, and friends to help cover angles we can't. And it helps that resources aren't exactly limited. Still, there's a lot of attrition for one enemy. And if there are 2 of us, all it takes is a second charger to occupy the shooter, and we're stuck. There are a lot of things that constantly show up that just don't feel interactive. We're not supposed to interact with most of it without help. And that help is pretty good for all that it accidentally kills us.
Are you stupid?
More firepower, better guns, and better stratagems are great for our life expectancy. Bonus points because of how much fun they have sending plots of land up in smoke. And extra bonus points when I get to watch the show from a safe distance.
Now, I'm gonna test something.
I'm not. Have fun. But I still kinda wish I didn't feel like I was piggybacking. So I'll ask again. What do you want to do? How are we going to have the most fun here? By staying as far away from the blender as possible. I can't be as gung-ho as they all are without putting my sanity at risk. I need to work on my throwing and get better at putting airstrikes in the right places. What's that? Mortar sentry? I just bought it. Automatically targets in a big range, shoots high so there's little collateral so long as we're careful. It racks up kills like no one's business. And it points out enemies we aren't aware of around the point of operation. But pointing out enemies and aggroing them doesn't do anything if we can't. The anti-material rifle cured my depression and filed my taxes. On a scale as big as this, with arsenals as big as ours, there's plenty of room to customize, and constantly another carrot dangling from the string in front of us. I want a no-nonsense, pinpoint, explosive blast and something suppressive. Then we better get diving. This isn't the first time a game we thought we'd love has chewed us up, and understanding what was going wrong for us didn't make stomaching it any easier. Problems are meant to be navigated around. But the problems we were facing weren't problems for others, and all that did was beat us down more. We weren't missing anything. We were hard countered by our own expectations and refusal to start from scratch. We got speckledorfed, and those expectations brutalized us for the past 30 hours. But now? Now I think we're in pretty good shape. You think? There are 5 more levels of difficulty to go, and we haven't even tried making peace with the bots yet. This isn't about peace, it's about democracy. And not giving in to malicious forces that think we're weaker than we are. Boo! That's too sappy. Yeah, you're right. Let's go turn a mountain into a crater.